I wish I had more time to discuss the past 24 hours in the Big Brother house, but I don't, unfortunately, because I would love to touch upon everyone's games tonight, but I'm only going to be able to touch upon half of the cast. Hopefully later in the week, like last week, Alex and I can have a discussion again about everyone's games, but we'll see if our schedules align for that. But for now, I guess I'll talk about some of my more favorite players in the game. You know, of course I'm rooting for Cirie. I've always loved Cirie on Survivor. And she's very close to Felicia, and Felicia seems pretty popular with, I would say, a lot of the fan base. I don't know if I'm rooting for Felicia for a few different reasons. She's funny, and I like her. I don't dislike her, but I don't know if I'm rooting for her. I just feel as though she is still playing too much of Cirie's game, which good for Cirie, and that's why I'm still rooting for Cirie. But yeah, Felicia being somebody who tells Hassan point blank that to not use the veto on her is only makes sense if she's trying to protect Cirie, I guess. Like, maybe it really stays in everyone's head since Izzy spiraled about it that Cirie was going to be the backdoor plan, even though that was never actually the case here. But it must be enough in their heads for Felicia to even not want the veto used on her. So I'm not necessarily rooting for Felicia to win, frankly. Hassan did not use the veto, so Kirsten and Felicia stay on the block. But there are a few other people I'm rooting for, and two of them are very much under the radar, and that is Nicole and America. I have to give credit to their games for being this under the radar gameplay where in a house where everyone else is playing a mile per minute and spiraling a lot or just talking a lot in general. Like I talked about it yesterday, the Gen Zers in this cast are doing way too much in their talking. They're giving up way too much information constantly. They finally realize that overnight that everyone realizes their alliance. Yeah, maybe because you've told everybody who you're aligned with. And then some of the more older people, Gen X and a boomer, they take loyalty very seriously, I feel as though, which doesn't leave them a whole lot of room to pivot. They like to complain about a lot of the house guests, sometimes a little too much, so that kind of gets on my nerves. But Nicole in America, millennials, go millennials. Although there's some other millennials in this game that I don't like whatsoever, such as Cameron. But Nicole and America are good at making little personal connections. Nicole better than America at that when it comes to the personal connections. And also just being under the radar with their positions. Nicole tried to make a little one-on-one possible duo with Corey, and now Nicole and America also have that discussion to protect each other. And I hope that both will actually go through with that. And I think they will. I think America is very in tune with the game. I think she's a big fan. She's talked about watching feeds in the past. And she has shown a lot in this game that she knows what she's talking about. Last night in the HOH room, the dummies in the Handful Alliance talked about the signal of the 5 while America was in the room. She's not in the 5 of that alliance, and she picked up on the fact that they were lying to her about what that was about. But more importantly with America, I liked that she had this idea to try and save Kirsten and backdoor Luke to Riley. Riley kept shutting that down, but America's the first person this season to realize Kirsten has no one that's somebody who you can actually bring in as a number. And if Luke's not working with your alliance, and if Luke is getting on the HOH's nerves like Riley, and if Riley had an ounce of a brain cell in her head, then she would have realized that too, that actually keeping Kirsten might have been better for their big-ass alliance than not. And getting rid of Luke was actually probably a better idea. But unfortunately, everyone in that alliance, sans Cameron, gave Riley full control just because she was HOH, and she completely botched it 100%. The fourth person I'm actually rooting for, and it surprises me as well, and that is Luke. The past 48 hours for Luke have been enjoyable to me. I enjoyed the conversation between Luke and Jared. I felt like Jared put in work there to be the first person to really try and connect with Luke this season. And I give Jared a lot of crap because he is one of the people that talks way too much. And like, he's going around always making mama comments.
And they're young, and it seems like they're literally doing what everybody does all the time. Draw to all the young, handsome, athletic talent, and stick together and kind of like second hand, act like everybody else. Right. And I'm like, I'm not with that. I'm a mama's boy. Like, I'm not with that shit. So,
right. I mean,
like, what are you doing? I get it's cute, and they call Mama F and Mama C Felicia, and Cirie, but like, why are you being so obvious with that? It's once again something that I've said in the past with Jared and the rest of Gen Z, just no subtlety at all. They don't know how to be subtle, and Jared does not know how to be subtle at all. And I am surprised that nobody is picking up on that. Although with this cast, I wouldn't be surprised if they thought that Felicia was his mom before Cirie, because they're a little slow. But yeah, Luke, after that talk with Jared, after some other talks, he came out guns blazing today, realizing nobody's been working with him. He was realizing that yesterday, that when he walks in a room, everyone stops talking. Nobody really talks game with him. Jared and Cirie and Felicia and Izzy have been some of the first to do so. And Luke's been complaining about the youngins as well. Luke understands that these Gen Zers are just not doing good. They're cocky, they talk too much, they give up their plans. If they're not working with you, it's pretty freaking obvious. So yeah, I like Luke. Today he's been very aggressively having one-on-ones, like he's about to be the HOH nominating someone, but it's working for him. He's getting information out of this house because they do chat so friggin' much. As for those Gen Zers that talk too much, they all realize in the wee hours of the morning that everyone knows about their alliance because they've been so obvious about it. And Cameron, after realizing that, seems to want to jump ship, even though he's one of the main causes why this alliance is a mess in the first place. He tried to take control, and Riley, with no backbone, went ahead and made the alliance that Cameron wanted to make, instead of doing what her gut was telling her and bringing in Cirie and Felicia. Had Riley went with her gut there, this house dynamic would be even more difficult to kind of navigate for everyone than it is right now. But she didn't. She listened to Cameron, and those two have had a really toxic relationship already, in my opinion. I didn't talk about this yesterday, but Cameron joking that to Riley to don't make me hit you after just knowing her a few days was definitely a red flag, but that was the joke he went with. And I feel like every time those two are actually having a conversation that I've seen on feeds, there is some awkward tension, some awkward negative tension. And I feel like Riley feels it, but she goes with it anyway. But now that Cameron realizes that alliance is so obvious, he's been trying to jump ship. There was a conversation with Red early in the morning. We didn't get to see a lot of it on feeds, but it seems as though they gave each other a little bit of information. And Red might be the only person to fall for Cameron's little game here. Cameron also tried it with Izzy, but Izzy ran that conversation back to Felicia and Cirie pretty quickly. As for Cirie and Izzy, yesterday, once again, Izzy had Cirie spiraling. I talked about yesterday how Cirie's going to have to really be patient with her alliance members because they do tend to do too much, and in Izzy's case, she tends to spiral too much. I don't know how they deal with Izzy, honestly. Her crazy eyes yesterday would have been like, yeah, I can't trust this person. She looks like a psychopath right now. She looked like a straight up psychopath. Luckily, Cirie and Izzy were able to just laugh about it afterwards, how paranoid they had gotten together. But unfortunately, for Cirie, I feel like both Cirie and Izzy play into each other's toxic traits, and I don't think that's going to change for the both of them. I can't lie though, when Izzy's not spiraling, she does crack me up.
I was scared of you today. I loved it. Oh my god, I was like so turned on. I loved it. Why do you say you were scared? Why do you think it was that too much? No, I think you were just the right amount. But you were firm.
Yeah, because I ain't playing with
But
you.
he like that. I think is like he's been dealing with Riley.
Huh?
You know what I mean? Who's not firm? Who's like,
Yeah.
You know, like,
yeah, but I'm a grown ass woman.
no,
dog.
I know.
Cirie and Izzy are going to need to take more breaks from each other soon, though. Lastly, I wanted to touch upon Jag. Jag's just the biggest disappointment this season. From the way he talked about wanting to start, he's certainly not done so. And just partnering with Riley, who I feel like he does have a crush on a lot. I think Jag is into her. Other people say Matt is just because he said so on the episode. I think that was probably just an initial attraction. I don't think Matt really wants anything with her. And I think he sees that Jag does want something with her and he's not going to pursue that. People want to call it a love triangle. I don't see it. When the HOHs, Riley started crying yesterday because it was just so overwhelming for her, they both comforted her, kinda. Jag did. Matt gave her two little taps on the back. If you're really into somebody and you're comforting them, it's not going to be two little taps on the back. Shit, I've comforted enemies more than that, I feel like. So I don't think Matt is into her like that. Jag is, though. Jag be acting like he's never seen a skinny white chick before in his life. The dummy Riley also basically called Matt dumb to his face, saying he would only win physical comps. So I just don't see that. And as for her crying, I'm already sick of it. You're the HOH. How are you crying this much as the HOH? I cannot wait to see her ass on the block. I hope she cries every single day. Yeah, Jag's game flushed by being so into Riley. Because Riley was so obvious about her connection to Jag, that Jag has now set him up for, in my opinion, one of the hardest games going. Jag has grown his target pretty big, and now he's going to have to do a lot of winning in comps down the stretch here. And it's early. It's not even down the stretch. We're in week 1. Jag's going to have to do a lot of winning before the stretch of this game to stay in the game in the first place. But yeah, those are my thoughts. I have a lot more thoughts. Like, I just don't have the time today. Hassam, I love Hassam's therapy sessions yesterday, getting info out of people. And I liked Hassam getting Matt to open up about the difficulties of his hearing in this house. Another point to Jared for being one of the only people who tries to talk in Matt's good ear. Yeah, Jared has the social gene of his mother, but he lacks a lot of other things. Those are my thoughts for now. I just don't have the time to get more in depth than I would like, but I hope to do so later in the week, especially if I could have another nice long discussion with Alex.